Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Triple N Media. I am Dr. NIK NIKAM from Houston, Texas. Today we're going to talk about are COVID vaccines effective against the Omicron variant. As you know, the Omicron variant has been rampant all over South Africa, United States, and especially in Europe, including the United Kingdom. So first we're going to look at what is the origin of this COVID Omicron variant and how prevalent is this in Europe and what its effects are going to be here in the United States. The main question remains, are COVID vaccines that are currently available, namely Pfizer, Moderna, Johnson & Johnson, and many other ones, how effective are these vaccines against the Omicron variant? We're going to learn in that presentation. Before we get started with the effectiveness of a vaccine, I want to give you a little bit background about the Omicron variant, which originated in South Africa in the middle of November, and in a span of 4 weeks it has spread like a wildfire throughout many African countries, a major part of Europe, and also in more than 20 to 25 states here in the United States of America. The COVID vaccine, the Omicron variant, is unique in that it has multiple mutations in the cauliflower-like projections called the spikes, which makes it easy for the virus to avoid the existing antibodies, and we'll see how effective the existing antibodies and immunity are against the Omicron virus. A little bit about what is going on in South Africa with this Omicron variant. The cases are doubling almost every 2 to 3 days. Majority of the cases are seen among people who are less than 40 years of age, and it is the same population which is very less in number of people vaccinated, and it is also seen in increasing numbers with children, and obviously the children are the ones who have not received the vaccine for the most part. However, the course of this Omicron variant appears to be milder compared to the original COVID virus and the Delta variant. Generally, it is like flu-like symptoms which may last for 2 to 3 days. Even if they are in the hospital, they are generally in the hospital for just a couple of days and they are discharged. Rarely does it affect the lungs as the original virus from Wuhan, which caused massive lung damage. The sad part is that only 20% of the South African population have received vaccination. And they also found out that 2 doses of vaccination, they were taking Pfizer and also, of course, Johnson & Johnson. With the full vaccination, the protection was only about 90%. When they took the booster dose, the protection against the Omicron virus went up to 90%. This is the BBC report on South African Omicron variant. Let's look at what is going on across the globe. Here in the United States, the latest numbers are 136,590 cases reported on December 15, 21, and UK has recorded almost 78,000 new cases, the highest number since the beginning of the pandemic in March 2020. You can imagine how things have not settled down as far as this COVID infection or pandemic is concerned. Similarly, France, Germany, and Russia are all increasing significant rises in the number of cases of COVID and particularly of the Omicron variant. And here is the story from the United Kingdom. As we can see, the number of new cases seen in the United Kingdom during this Omicron wave is far exceeding those of all the previous waves related to the COVID pandemic going back to March 2020. They recorded, as I said, more than 78,600 cases just 2 days ago, and the insert at the top shows the number of Omicron cases represented in the red skyrocketing in United Kingdom. And let's look at some of the statistics from the United Kingdom. About 40% of the COVID infections in the United Kingdom are of the Omicron variant. They have so far reported 38 deaths in 28 days following a positive test. There has been a race by the government to promote booster vaccination, as that is our best hope to reduce the spread of this Omicron variant. But as I said, just like in South Africa, the infections are milder, the involvement of the lungs are lesser. This is typo, sorry for the typo. The involvement of the lungs are very less compared to that of the Delta variant or the original COVID variant. A British study also showed that after the second dose of the vaccine, Pfizer or Moderna, they had about 40% protection against the Omicron virus. However, following the booster dose, the protection went up to 90%, 80%. The real story revolves around younger population, many of whom are unvaccinated, and children who are not vaccinated. So these people are more vulnerable for any type of COVID infection, particularly the Omicron variant, and that's why we are seeing the increased number of cases in younger population and also in children. However, the course is milder than the previous COVID variants. Now, let's look at Germany. Germany has one of the best healthcare systems in the world, with all their tracking and contact tracing, all these things with vaccinations. Even Germany has not been able to achieve the degree of vaccination they wanted to achieve. Especially the booster doses are lagging behind practically in every country, including the United States. Germany had reached a peak of 75,000 cases towards the beginning of December, and it is coming down, but with the spread of the Omicron variant, it is uncertain as to what the course of this wave is going to be, whether it's going to resurge just like it did in the United Kingdom. That is as far as Europe is concerned. Now let's get back to the United States. NIH, under the guidance of Dr. Fauci, did a study looking at the effect of vaccines on the Omicron variant. Dr. Fauci's study showed that there was negligible antibodies against the Omicron variant after 2 doses of the Moderna vaccine. However, following the 3rd dose, the booster dose, there was a significant increase in the antibody protection against the Omicron virus. So the conclusion is that booster doses are of great importance in reducing the spread of this infection, reducing the number of active cases, and reducing number of people needing hospitalization from Omicron variant virus. The CDC also reported that only 27% of the adults have received the booster dose vaccine. Now, if you are wondering, are you likely to get COVID Omicron variant infection? That depends upon whether you have received the 3rd dose of the vaccine, which greatly boosts the protection to 80 to 90%. Combine that with pills that are available, then we may be able to reduce the number of hospitalizations, reduce the number of people getting serious symptoms, and thus contain this Omicron variant spreading like a wildfire in the United States. Okay, so what is the bottom line as far as the United States is concerned? As we see, we had the first wave starting in March 2020. Then back in last December, we had a huge wave which reached over 200 to 300 new cases per day. Then we have the Delta wave. Then now we are going to be facing the dawn of the Omicron wave. The Omicron wave is just begun in the last week or 2 here in the United States. But if you look at all the previous waves, they take 2 to 2.5 months to go up, and a similar time or longer time to come down. So if the Omicron variant were to behave just like the Delta wave and the last December wave we saw, the third wave, then we are looking at anywhere from 4 to 5 months of this saga of another wave of COVID variant, namely the Omicron here in the United States. Keeping that in mind, I think we should do what is most prudent as far as protecting ourselves. Number one, I think we should go ahead and get the booster dose. I got the booster dose on the first day I was eligible to get the booster dose. Number two, continue to use safety measures because it's you who have to protect yourself more than any governmental agency. This is an overview of how effective the vaccines and how effective the vaccines are on Omicron variant and the story about the Omicron variant all across the globe. Thank you so much for watching, and please do subscribe to our YouTube channel, and we will see you in the next video.